stand over here since I'm out of the way anyway. My name is Jack Winston. We're part of the team over here at the keyboard is Chase Mullen, and the keyboard in the back is Paul Glasgow, and Nori Winter is somewhere. There's Nori back there, and Nori will be making a cameo appearance here in a little bit. And so we're about a comprehensive land use plan, and we do that. We help communities all over the country, actually, and our role here is land use planning and coordinating everybody, and computer mapping and visualization. And Nori's firm does heritage tourism planning, so we're going to be talking about that tonight and summarizing some of the events, some of the decisions and recommendations that were made earlier today. And we have another firm that's available to help us with some survey work if we decide that's appropriate. So what are we doing here? We're doing an update of a plan. Okay, now what you have that guides the city policy, that guides the decision-making in the city regarding land use, has been a document called the Farragut Land Use and Transportation Policy Plan. It's a mouthful. But it was done about 11 years ago, and so a lot's happened since then. We have a lot of new development that's happened that wasn't foreseen, and it was only a policy plan, which means that it's full of statements, not a lot of pictures. There are some maps in there, but not a lot of details about where we want to be in the next 10, 20 years. And so our mission here is to try and dig a little more deeply, update that document, bring it into the 2012 time frame, and then see if we can add a little more detail explanation about. And then at the end of the day, we're going to present this to the town board, and the planning commission will have a chance to weigh in on it, and then hopefully they'll adopt it, modify it, massage it, get it where they want it, and then it becomes a document that will guide their decision-making over the next 5, 10 years. Now, we talk about it being a 2025 plan, but really these plans ought to be updated about every 5 years or 3 to 5 years. So it doesn't mean that we're freezing it in time and only going to look at it again 20 years from now. It means that we'll continually update it and keep looking 25 years ahead of time. So we have a lot of ways we're reaching out tonight. Obviously, you've been deputized by the rest of the city's citizens of Farragut to speak for them, so congratulations. And whatever you decide, they'll all agree with. So we're excited about that. We have a website called farragut2025.com, and you can always go there and get information. And we hope to keep everything current. And there are opportunities there for you to leave us messages. You can leave us nasty notes. You can leave us. You can make comments about particular issues in town. There's even a map that you can find, and you can go to a specific and say, I'm really concerned about this or that. We'll begin posting some of these ideas we're talking about tonight, and then you can go online and comment about those too. You can take a look at them and tell us what you think is right and wrong with them. So here we are in a timeline. We've been doing a lot of background research. We've had focus group sessions, which means we meet with a group around a table representing various interests and various departments and other agencies and groups. And so we're meeting here in public meeting number 1. We're going to ask you a bunch of questions, get your reaction to some ideas. We're going to pull those ideas together into some alternatives that represent different possible futures for the town. And then we're going to come back to you in 6 or 8 weeks and talk about those options and let you come and throw darts at that. Then we're going to take those options, consolidate them into a kind of a preferred direction, and then we'll have a work session with the town board and see where they want to go from there. So the initial focus groups we met with, we have large property owners, we have business leaders, community leaders, we have members of the council, of the board, we have members of the planning commission, had youth groups even, and so we sat around and picked their brains about what's working, what's not working in Farragut regarding particularly, this is about land use and about growth and development, okay? You got to get a sense here of the things that people mentioned and the relative size of the letter tells you how often it was mentioned. And so you can think people talked about community and having a plan and an identity for Farragut and all of those kinds of things. So a comprehensive plan is sort of a foundation document. It deals with land use and transportation, utilities, intergovernmental coordination, even community character. And it has goals and objectives and policies and actions. And its purpose is like a playbook for a football team, okay? So the playbook says, here's the strategy we're going to use to win this game. And so if everybody follows the playbook, we're going to get to the goal. All right? So if we have a good comprehensive plan, then we've agreed on what our population projections are going to be. We've agreed kind of where our major roads are going to go. We've agreed on where we think certain other kinds of land uses should occur, where higher density, lower density, all kinds of different land uses should go. Then other departments and other agencies that serve us, such as water and sewer districts, police and fire, and other people, they can all look at our plan and say, okay, this is what Farragut's planning to do. Let's adjust our plans to coordinate with theirs. And then occasionally they'll have a plan or a better idea and they'll come back to us and say, hey, we're going to do this, and then we'll adjust our plan. Okay, so we'll keep both those plans kind of in sync, ideally. Now, the key to this being a success is to follow the playbook. And anybody who's been on any kind of a sports team knows that if you don't work together towards a common goal, you're likely not to get there. I think it was Yogi Berra said one time, if you got to be careful, if you don't know where you're going, you might not get there. So, now, the comprehensive land use plan, I should also say, is advisory. That means that it doesn't convey any property rights and it doesn't take away any property rights. It's a big picture on where we want to go. Zoning, on the other hand, is a legally binding regulation that applies to individual property. So if you have a property and it's zoned some designation that allows you to do, let's say, 8 dwelling units on your property, okay? That's a if you follow all the regulations in the town code, you can put 8 units on your property. A comprehensive plan, however, says a little bit more about the shape of the community, how we want the community to turn out. So it might say, look, we got a steep slope in here, so let's leave that open, and we'd like you to put your houses down here in the lower, flatter area and keep the hillsides open. And in order to incentivize you to do that, we'll allow you to build 10 units instead of 8, okay? Or whatever other incentives we want to encourage. Now, if you own this property and you want to rezone the property, the town council and the planning commission go open up the comprehensive plan and say, what's the comprehensive plan say? Is there another density or another land use that's appropriate here? And so the comprehensive plan is a guide toward zoning and changes in land use in the future. The town council can say, you know, this is a great idea, the comprehensive plan doesn't mention it, so let's change the comprehensive plan and then we'll approve the project. Okay, so it's a flexible document, but it does suggest that we want to think things through comprehensively. We're going to change something, let's think about the traffic, let's think about the floodplain, let's think about emergency services, et cetera, and let's do this in a thoughtful way. The key to a successful comprehensive plan and a successful outcome, I always say, is the first 5 decisions that the town board makes after they adopt the plan. If the first 5 decisions are consistent with the plan, everybody in town will get the idea, I need to pay attention to the plan because they're taking this plan seriously. If we ignore the plan in those first 5 decisions, eventually the word gets out, we did this plan, we spent all this time and effort, and now nobody's listening, paying attention to the plan. We're just gonna go in and take our chances, and we don't need to follow the plan. So it's really critical that everybody be involved in this process and convey the level of support that we need to encourage all of the policymakers to feel confident to follow the plan. Now in our case, the Farragut land use plan is a little different than that traditional plan. Okay, we've got this land use and transportation master plan that I mentioned. We also have another document that the council, that the board has adopted called the strategic plan. It too is a text document mainly. So one of our missions is to give form to these planning concepts. These things that are described in verbally, we're trying to give a little more flesh to. What does that mean? You all know that what happens is that once somebody says, well, it says here in the document, right, that we want a town center or we want an activity center here, and you propose it and all of a sudden everybody's opposed to it, okay? So it means that those words mean different things to different people. And so we're trying to give a little more shape and substance to what the words mean by providing some illustrations, some pictures, and we'll look at some of those tonight. So we're going to look at historic resources and centers that are also mentioned in both these documents, how to expand and maintain commercial, anticipate build out. We're about 75% build out in Farragut. What are we going to do with the remaining 25%? We've got zoning. Is that the right zoning? Is it, do we think that the market is changing? Do we think that developers are going to walk in and say, you know, that was what we thought was going to work 5 years ago. We've had a very different economy today, and I need something slightly different to match the marketplace. So we're trying to think ahead about all of that build out. And we've got some tired shopping centers. We've got shopping centers that are starting to show their age. We've got some abandoned stores, and we've got newer and bigger, better that are attracting customers up in the Turkey Creek area. So what do we do with these old shopping centers? If we continue to let them go downhill, they're just going to become a blight on the community. Is there anything we can do to help stimulate those to redevelop? And finally, whatever we decide to do, we need to implement it. So all of those concepts get embedded in the comprehensive plan. Here's the strategic plan, for example, giving form to planning concepts. It says we're going to have multiple activity centers. Well, what's an activity center? Where should they be? The comprehensive plan lists them. The strategic plan lists them, says we'll have a street center here and one here, but it doesn't have a picture and it doesn't have an image. So what we're doing is trying to give more form by saying, okay, here's what an activity center could look like. And even more than that, we might try to show in a little more detail, this is what we mean by an activity center, okay? And if we can all agree on that, then that makes it easier for the landowner, for developers, eventually for the town board and others to all agree on whether a particular project should be approved. Okay? We got a lot of opportunities and constraints. A little hard to see here, but we've got some sinkholes scattered throughout. We've got some large parcels that are in kind of the light yellow. We've got some darker parcels that have one or two buildings on them that are probably suitable for redevelopment. And so there's still some areas that have the possibility of redeveloping, particularly out in the southwest area. And we've got some growth areas that have been identified in purple that are not currently inside the town boundary. And then we've got a road pattern that's identified in your transportation plan. And these are major arterial roads, these are the 4-lane roadways. And we've got major collectors that are 2- and 3-lane roadways. And then we've got local collectors that are smaller still. And you can see that we've got a lot of kind of a grid of these larger roads. Not a lot of ways getting through here. So here's a circuitous route of getting through there. There's a little route getting over through there, but no way to get from here to there until I go up here. These are some of the things that contribute to congestion on our roadways. We're forcing all the traffic out to the major roadways that surround us. There's some positives and there's some negatives that go along with that kind of a pattern. So we're going to do some Keypad polling tonight. We're going to start by doing a little training exercise here, if we can get some help passing those out. Now these little keypads won't open your garage door. They won't change the channels on your TV. And they don't calculate your grocery bill. So don't put them in your pocket. Don't put them in your purse. Okay. Everybody got one? Anybody we overlooked?
Still passing. Anyone else?
All right.
Okay, so if you guys press them, you should see a little light pop up on there in the corner. And that,
Right now, it's not going to be green until you turn on the.
Oh, I do work.
All right. So here's your first question. Have you ever lied to your mother? So pick a number that corresponds to the answer you like.
A lot of these questions, there's only one answer that it's going to read, so it's going to read your last one. So if you change your mind midway through the question, just go ahead and press a different number. So only absorb sort of your last one.
Okay. If you push it 20 times, it doesn't mean you're voting 20 times. It only means it remembers the last one. Now sometimes we'll give you a choice of 2 or 3 answers. So you push your first choice, second choice, and third choice right in a row. Okay? And we can look right up here and see who's responded. There's 49 responses. Okay? Everybody got a green light? Anybody get an orange light when you push the button? Occasionally the batteries fade out on us. We replaced some today, but we don't always get them. All right, great. You got an orange light? All right.
I got it. Oh,
Push the button again.
So these are some questions.
Okay, you got to push the button sort of hard, and don't hesitate to push it twice to make sure. But double check, make sure you get a light.
all right. So I think 55. That seems about right. All right. So let's.
All right, let's see. Oh. All right, now we know what kind of an audience we got.
Is it Mother's Day?
All right, so how old are you?
Right place.
This shouldn't be too hard. You can put your hand over the keyboard if you want.
What was that number? 50.
55. We know who you are, so don't be holding back on us. Push that button hard. Still got 2 more that are not showing up here. There we go. Everybody get a green light? All right. Mature audience, shall we say. This board here?
No, we can't.
I can read those hints too. Or I'm more serious.
All right.
Occasionally there's a projector.
It's not perfect software. Occasionally it wigs out on us.
I thought it was